Hi. It's good to see you guys. All right. So please check in. Let me check your attendance through the chat screen, and then we're going to get it going. Okay. Check your attendance. Why are we missing some people? Let me see. Okay. So I'm still letting some people in. Give me 3 more minutes so that we can allow more people in our class. Let's see. Okay. It seems like some people are having some trouble with the internet connection. So make sure you have strong Wi-Fi before you begin the quiz. Okay, I've had some issues regarding the internet connection this morning, so please be careful. Okay, so we are almost here. Please check in. Those of you who just came in, don't forget to check in to the chat. And there we go. Okay. Okay, so we're almost there. So while we are waiting for the several missing people to come in, do you guys have any questions regarding the types of sentences about the video? Anybody? No?
You mean about the quiz?
No, I mean about the materials that you had to study for the quiz. Because those were all, you know, I gave you the lesson through a recorded session, and I have strong disbelief in recorded one-way communication style of lecture. I don't know if you have understood everything fully or not. So this is the chance that you can ask me questions before you begin the quiz. Yeah, so basically the materials that's related to the quiz. Any questions?
I have questions.
Yes, Yushin.
Doyoung first.
No, you first.
What was that?
He said first, and I raised my hand first.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
And I want to check my idea that I learned in that lecture.
Okay.
When we use coordinating conjunction, when we use that for connecting compound sentences, we need to use comma in front of the fanboys.
Yes.
But
yes.
when we compound, not compound sentences, but compound like nouns or just verbs, we don't use any comma in front of the fanboys. That's right?
That's a very good question. Okay, so you know what we can do is that let's say you are using a compound verb in a sentence, right? Let's say I want to say something like, let me just bring up a whiteboard. Okay, let's say we want to say something like I went shopping, ate food, and had great time. As you can see, this is still a simple sentence because we only have one combination of subject and multiple verbs, right? And in this case, we are using commas like this because, wait, what? Okay, so you know what I mean. The commas here is used to separate the verbs, compound verbs, okay? This is important, but let's say you are using 2 verbs. Let's say you just wanted to say, I went shopping and ate dessert. In this case, you wouldn't use a comma right before this because you only have 2 items. So when you're listing, let's say more than 2 items, like A, where did it go? A, comma B, when you're let's say you are listing 2 items, you say A and B. When you're listing more than 2, let's say 3, then you will say this would be what you'll be saying. B, C, and D. So this is how it goes. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you are, using this for a compound noun, compound subject or compound verb or anything. You can use it this way, and the same with words like or. Because usually you list these items through the words like and or. Okay. Mingi, why are you asking me a question? 출석?
Because
Okay.
I'm late.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. So
And then,
yeah.
Okay. When we write the sentence like this way, I went shopping and she ate desserts like that way. We need to use comma here.
Yes, definitely.
There is okay.
Definitely. Right. Thank you. Very important. Very good. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I question that the reason that the dog howled, although he was well fed, is not compound sentence but complex sentence. Is that right? That the although is not included in fan voice?
Although is a subordinating conjunction. So they are meant to make a clause into a dependent clause. So for example, the 2 sentences originally was supposed to be like the dog was well fed. The dog howled. This is where you begin, right? And you want to show the connection of these 2 sentences. So how do you do that? You know that the dog was well fed is a surprising piece of information. So you want to use 반전 style of transition, or you can use some 반전 style of subordinating conjunction. So what you do is you put although the dog was well fed. You put this in this sentence, and suddenly, because of the subordinating conjunction, although, this sentence, the rest of the clause suddenly became a dependent clause. It's all because of this word here, although. Okay, so you are immediately combining this by saying the dog howled although the dog was well fed, or you can say you can begin your sentence with although the dog was well fed, the dog howled. And remember, when you are doing this, you must have a comma because you just began your sentence with the word although.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. Any other questions? Are you guys okay?
Professor, I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
In the lecture, you mentioned that we should not begin sentence with fan voice. And I was wondering if that each fan voice has replacing words like because, also, however thing.
Yeah.
That replacing word is okay to begin the sentence.
So as long as you can substitute it with other transitions, then that's perfectly fine. So instead of starting your sentence with and, let's say you want to say something like when I ate and she cried. Okay, so if you want to say this, it's okay to say this in spoken language, but we don't want to do that in written language. So what we can do is, there are 2 ways that we can do this. I ate and she cried. This is one version. Or you can say I ate. Also, she cried. You can do that. Okay?
Okay.
Professor?
Yeah?
For the worksheet, we have the question B. You know, in the types of sentences, that part.
Mm-hmm.
Question B is like, we have to fill in the gap, right?
Yeah. With
Is
your
this-
imagination.
Yeah, is a similar question gonna be on our case today? Something like that?
Something like that, but I'm glad that you mentioned this part here. You're talking about this section, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so in this section, usually I just leave it up to you to come up with many ideas, but in here I specifically want to point out that there is a difference between so and and. Take a look at the first example. It says the college campus is located in the center of the city, comma, so it is very easy to get there by public transportation. And a lot of students end up saying the college campus is located in the center of the city, comma, and it is very easy to get there by public transportation. And it seems like here it's okay to say it because it doesn't interfere any logical meaning or the intention of the original sentence. And it sounds fine, and I agree it's okay, especially when you're speaking. However, I usually put this in a metaphor of two different spoons. You know, when you have, let's say you want to have a cup of mixed coffee, like Maxim White Gold, right? And you want to drink this, and you need to stir it with a spoon. Now, you have a choice. Would you use a teaspoon or a tablespoon? They both are in front of you. Then usually you would use a teaspoon for a specific purpose like this, right? But the problem is, let's say if you didn't have this teaspoon, then you would end up using a tablespoon to stir the coffee. It's not going to be pretty, but it's still going to work, right? So that's exactly what I want to say. When you want to use the word and, well, it is a much more broader term than the word so. So you could probably use it, but would that make a good sentence in your writing? I don't know. The more clear, the clearer and the more specific your vocabulary choices are, the better your writing. So be careful in not to use the word so and interchangeably. Try to find out the specific purpose of the conjunctions and use them appropriately. I'm glad you brought this up. Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, so I think you were trying to ask me questions like, do we get questions like these in our quiz? Well, does that matter now? You're gonna be having a quiz in 7 minutes. It's similar, but you don't need to make up information, I think it was. Yeah, so don't panic. It's okay. You have to write though. You have to write a lot for this quiz. But it's not about these types of questions. Any other questions? I guess if everybody's ready, then maybe we can just start the quiz going on, because today's lesson will require a lot of group discussions as well. It does take a lot of time. All right, so I need you guys to get out and re-log in with your mobiles so I can see your screens, like Haejong. Haejong did a good job, well prepared. Okay, so let me see your screens. Thank you. Okay, all right.
Can I go back out and log in again?
Sure, go ahead. Okay. All right. Okay. We're missing some people yet, so we'll have to wait. We need a little more people. Yeah, so please position your mobiles so I can see your monitors. And okay. Right. Okay, seems like I'm still missing 2 people. Who am I missing? Ah, there we go. Okay, so we... No, wait. Do we have everybody? I'm missing one. Okay, so we do have everybody. All right, so I will start the quiz now. You guys are all ready? Yeah? Okay. So let me start the quiz now. Let's do it. Go! Okay, so the time is up. So you might want to get out and re-log in so that you can have. Oh wait, hold on. Is the time up or no? I'm sorry for confusion. To me, it seems like it's over, right? It is over, right? Okay. Okay. All right. So yeah, get out and re-log in as a PC. Okay. So we are here. Why? Wait, hold on. I am looking at. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we have everybody, and I do have the quiz finished. So I think we're good to go. So here's what's going to happen today. We're going to be talking about compare and contrast essays so that we can analyze one type of expository essay. And tomorrow you will have to bring your 5-paragraph essay done, bring it to class, and you will exchange these in the class so that you can fill out the feedback sheet that you did yesterday on your partner's writing this time, okay? And based on that, you will also do a revision. Not only we will spend half of the class tomorrow on the essay, we will also do an argumentative essay style. To do that, we're going to first do some debate tomorrow. Okay, so that's the general plan. That's what we have so far now. Now, to summarize, what you need to do today: finish your first draft of your paper. Tomorrow, bring it to class for revision. Revise it, give it to me on before the midnight tomorrow, and then study for the final exam. Okay, the final exam will be on Thursday, and I know some people are very curious about what's going to be in the final exam. Basically, we're going to do everything that we covered in class, including relative clauses, types of sentences, types of essays, and things like that. And I will do the review before our final exam, so don't panic, don't worry. Just bring me questions and I'll be glad to answer them. Okay, so that's our general schedule for this week. And from my from my experience from my previous class this morning, it seemed like it is impossible for me to get to argumentative essay today. So I'll just clear up on my mind and I'll give you enough time for you guys to work on compare and contrast essays, okay? Now, this is a type of expository essay, and it will we will first analyze this to practice both speaking and writing. The essay is uploaded on Cyber Campus. On Cyber Campus, you will see in 강의 자료 section how it says day 12, day 11 and 12 writing compare and contrast essays. So if you download the file, you will see a PowerPoint slide file. Okay, please download that and it will direct you to a file that looks like this. Okay, I won't be able to share the screen for you for the entire time you are reading this because for some reason I can't do anything with my screen. So please take a look at these 3 paragraphs, and then I want you guys to outline the key words. Okay, do you remember what we did with outlining? Right, in Korean we call that 개요, right? I don't know if they have it here. You know how we had like hold on, we had something like, you know, one introduction, and then comes some main points, right? And then comes body, right? Do you remember? And then we would have like main points here, main points there. If we have subpoints related to them, maybe you can just put it like this, right? So you can use this format, or maybe you can decide to do some graphic organizer format, but I'd like to recommend this, this type of outline format. The reason being is that it's going to help you definitely when you're giving a presentation as well. We're trying to avoid plagiarizing with just with just picking out the keywords from the original text. If we end up with writing the entire sentence, if you think it's just, oh, okay, this is the key sentence, I'm gonna write it down in my outline or in my summary. This is what happens when you're trying to summarize. When you summarize, you don't know up to which sentence was the original text and which sentence is yours. So you end up mixing all of them, and then you end up with completely plagiarized paper, and it's not safe for your career. So what you're gonna do is just pick out the keywords or phrases. Don't make any sentences in this outline, okay? When you're done making the outline out of this sample essay that you're gonna see through the PowerPoint slide, when you're done with the outline, you're going to summarize the article based on your outline with your partner within 30 seconds, and it's not gonna be easy, okay? So it's going to be like read, write, and speak, all of these activities all in one. It's like shampoo and conditioner in one. Okay. All right. So please download the file because I can't share it for the entire time. Download the file, look at the first slide, read the 3-paragraph essay, and we'll talk about it in 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes might be too much, but 10 minutes. All right, go. Okay, I'm back. All right, so now I'm going to put you guys into partners. One person will share the screen so that you both can see the timer. The timer will count down from 30 seconds, 30, 30, 29, 28, 27. It's going to count down. And within that 30 seconds, you will have to summarize the article you just read. Okay, usually 30 seconds is equal to around 6 sentences. So you might want to summarize intro in 2 sentences, the body in 2 sentences, and conclusion in 2 sentences. Or maybe you can just spend 1 sentence for intro, 1 sentence for conclusion, and 4 sentences in the middle. Okay, it depends all on you. All you need to do is try to fit in the main ideas within 30 seconds. And if you need to do that, you will have to be very fluent, okay, and focused. And it's not going to be easy. All right, so don't panic if you couldn't fit everything in within the 30 seconds. It's not gonna be easy. And I will give you 6 minutes. So within that 6 minutes, you can practice over and over, okay, with your partners. Take turns to practice the same script, or not script, but same outline, so that you can fit in 30 seconds. All right.
So Professor, do you have to communicate or write?
It's speaking activity. So I'm gonna put you guys into groups of 2 people, but one group will have 3. Yeah. Yes, 3. One group will have 3 people. All right. So 6 minutes. And let's go. Go. What's going on? There you go.
We were trying to find the timer. Yeah.
Okay. You can just say, if you're on Google, you just say online stopwatch, and yeah, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, this can work.
Okay.
Some people use Naver too. So yeah. Do whatever is easy for you to use. Oh, you need to count down, counting up. Yeah, so use timer. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. So we need to count down. Okay, let me know if you have any problems, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Where's the timer? Where's the timer?
We're doing it by our mobile phone.
But if you do that, you can't, it's not synchronized with both of you. So one of you will have to get on a timer, okay? And
All right.
yeah, so just share the screen. I think that would be the simplest way.
Okay. We was arranging our sentence finally.
Oh, don't write the script. Just try to speak based on the outline.
All right, all right.
Okay. There we go. Yep. All right, go ahead. Let me know if you have any issues, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Where's the timer?
Oh, we can't share the screen
Why not?
because I'm not doing Zoom on my laptop and Chris not doing it either.
Oh, really? Then, Tanya, can you share the screen?
We are checking each individually.
Then that's not a partner work. You will have to do this together so that it sounds like more like speaking, not reciting on your own, okay? Not monologue. It has to be a dialogue. Okay?
Like we have to do
So,
it. Like,
yeah, what I mean by this dialogue, I'm not talking about you guys are like one person says something and the other person says anything. It's not like that. But when you are doing this on your own, it sounds like you are reciting. But when you have an audience, it sounds like you're talking to the audience. Your intonation is different. So instead of, you know how like really bad actors and actresses, they just we criticize them for reading 국어책. 혼자 연습하면 그렇게 돼요. 그러니까 앞에 누가 있다고 생각하고 서로 이렇게 쌍방으로 한다는 느낌이 나야 이 아무리 지식 전달을 30초 안에 하는 일방적인 커뮤니케이션이라 하더라도 이게 쌍방 느낌이 나게끔 할 수가 있는 거고요. 그래야 인토네이션도 더 좋아지고 플루엔트해져요. So we need to find a way that you can do this together. And I think it would be good for Chanyoung to share the screen so that you know, both of you can see the timer. And the Naver has a timer and Google has online timer, so you can use either one.
Okay, I try to.
okay.
Good.
Can you see this? Oh.
And go.
There are two types when you choose how to live in when you're a university student. And first type is living with your family. They are cheaper and there are no need for crew. And when you choose this, you're not alone. But when you choose living on your own, you will be free and there is no interruption. Each option have different advantages as so.
Oh. I wanna give you a dynamite. Dush. I know it's not easy, but if you keep on practicing, it's gonna get easier. The point here is probably not just speeding up your sentences. Maybe you want to delete unnecessary words. I'm not talking about unnecessary details. Maybe details, but maybe you can think of a way to speak the same thing in shorter way. It's not gonna be easy. I told you, it's not easy. All right. Keep going.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Keep talking. Go. Practice.
Okay, then my turn.
Hello.
Hello, Professor.
Hi.
We've been discussing enough.
Already? No, don't do that. Not yet.
Right, okay.
So have you finished? Have you succeeded, both of you, to fit the whole summary in 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. So you guys are good. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, what time is it? I can't see it. Wait, hold on.
3:14.
3:14.
Oh, it's 3:14. So yeah, just for one more minute. Don't look at the next slide. Just small chat,
Okay.
small talk.
All right.
Welcome back. I always forget that I muted myself. All right, so I know it was not easy for you to fit all of the information into such short time. And I wanted to do this activity with you because this activity requires like reading, speaking, writing, and everything together. Usually when we categorize four different parts of language learning, we, as you know, speaking, listening, reading, and writing, four different skills. And the more skills that you need to use at once, the more difficult usually is for the learners. And ETS knows this very well. So they intentionally make you do, go through a process where you need to, use all four skills to speak. Especially when it comes to speaking English speaking tests like TOEIC speaking. I mentioned TOEIC speaking and OPIC a lot because I know that by the time you need to graduate and get a job, you have to have both scores for these tests. And I have experience of teaching TOEIC speaking long time ago, but actually for such a period of time so that I became an expert enough to analyze this test. And I realized how TOEIC speaking is more focused on fluency. They do look at accuracy, so they make you read a passage to evaluate your pronunciation and intonation and pausings and things like that. But they also are very much focused on fluency. To increase your fluency, they always make you look at their timer in front of you, and then for each question the timer ticks down, it counts down 30 seconds, 30, 29, 28, 27, and then they ask you much more detailed question. Like I said the other day, they ask you questions like, do you agree or disagree? And then they give you a sentence like, the people in the future will be more violent than they are today. Now, how much time do you have to prepare for this? Well, you only have 15 seconds, which means that within the 15 seconds, it's impossible for you to make an outline, and think about what you want to say. It has to be just coming out instinctively. And the one more problem is that you're not allowed to use notes. So you don't have any pens, you don't have any paper, you just have your brain and your eyes and your voice. That's all you have, and your headset. From my experience, I've seen a lot of students having trouble with fighting against the pressure of the timer. I think that's one of the most difficult thing, because I still remember when I first took the test, I was there as an instructor and I know all about this, yet I was still very nervous because the clock was ticking down. And in the beginning, I didn't really have any idea what to say when. But as I practiced over and over, I felt like, my students would be also able to do this, because this is all about your body acquiring this skill instead of your brain sort of processing very complicated knowledge. Of course, you will have to process a lot of knowledge, but the point here is to make a link between that brain processed knowledge to come out of your mouth, and it's very, very tough, I know. So one good way is to practice your fluency like this. I know it could be really embarrassing if you wanted to do this alone. So maybe it would be good if you have a partner. And that actually, I mentioned this to one of your groups just earlier. When you speak alone, you sort of speak like a machine. You know how when we criticize really bad actors for reading 국어 book? You know, like, for example, let me see if I have a, oh yeah, I can just read that. If you are asked to read the sample essay, right? And, you know, some people read it like as if you are actually reading some dialogue out loud. You know, some people say, oh, when you attend a university, you have to make many decisions. Among the most important is deciding where to live. Now compare this version with when you attend a university, you have to make many decisions. Among the most important is deciding where to live. Two popular options are renting a room with a family and renting an apartment on your own. Okay, so my pronunciation was near perfect, right? I didn't have any trouble with R sound. I didn't have any trouble with V or F or the typical sounds that usually Koreans would have. I don't have that problem, yet the second version was uncomfortable for a lot of you to hear. Why? Because that was just me based. It was not audience based. And you need to know how to make it sound like you're actually speaking, even when you have a set of script, or even when you have a skeletal outline of some message to convey. So in order for you to do that, you know, the best way is to have a partner. But if you can't afford a partner, maybe you can just do this on your self screen, like turn on the Zoom and then, you know, look at yourself doing, you know, on your own kind of thing. And that could also be helpful, much better than just reading out of script and, you know, sound like 내가 제일 싫어하는 actress 김태희. I don't understand. Why can't Kim Tae-hee actually close her mouth? Like she always goes, 이거 왜 그러는 거야? 진짜 심각한 장면에서도 입을 다물지를 못하더라고. 옛날에 아이리스. 진짜 대단한 북한 공작원 막 이런 걸로 나와야 되는데 입을 다물지 못해서 멍청해 보이더라고요. 그 서울대 나오신 분이. 왜 그러는 거야, 진짜. 얼굴은 너무 이쁜데. So that's what I'm talking about. You have to make it sound like human being talking. You can't just, you know, say, you know, it's not saying if you doesn't sound like you're talking, right? It just sounds like you're reading something out loud without the concern of your audience. And this activity that you just did is a perfect activity because I gave you time to practice over and over to fit everything into 30 seconds. Some people had trouble fitting in their message within the 30 seconds because they had too much information, TMI. On the other hand, some people had trouble fitting in everything within the 30 seconds because their sentences were wordy. By the meaning of wordy, I'm talking about, you know, filling in too many unnecessary words here and there. And that happens in the beginning because you are very nervous, especially you're speaking in front of the camera with a timer on, and it's really pressuring you. But once you know, practice, you will get used to that environment and will have no problem speaking, okay? In that case, that's the time when you start thinking about how to reduce the unnecessary words in a sentence. Sometimes some people have trouble filling in everything within the 30 seconds because they hesitate too much in the middle. They go oh, and then they lose it. You know, 30 seconds is very, very short time. But actually, when you think of it the other way, my speed of speaking right now, I think I would be able to speak around 7 sentences within 30 seconds in this speed right now. Your Korean sentences, when you speak Korean, try to speak Korean and count how many sentences you can say within 30 seconds. You'll find, you know, you'll find it really interesting that you will be able to speak around the 6 sentences within 30 seconds. So it looks like it's a short time, but it's actually enough time for you to convey at least the 6 sentences. And that's the speed where it sounds much more like native speaker speed. So practice with your native language and see how many sentences you can say within that time limit, and fit yourself into that with English as well. That could be your goal, right? So again, the activity today is not for me to evaluate you guys, but it's to give you the opportunity to practice speaking, reading, and writing, and everything. Okay, similar speaking section exists in TOEFL speaking as well. And in that speaking, as far as I remember, it's been a very long time since I've last seen a set of TOEFL. But I think there was the thing, like you listen to something, you read something, and then you have to combine these information to speak out something. So like I said, the more skills you have to involve to get into one activity, the more difficult it is. So it's important that you get used to each one of the skill so that you have no problem even when they combine these different skills together. So that's one thing that I really, really wanted to talk to you. And now let's go back to our slide here. So I know that you guys all read and understood this fully because it was not a very difficult thing to understand. Here we go. So I'm just gonna skip to the second slide here where it says, where they give you 4 different questions. Okay, it says number 1, does the essay focus more on similarities or differences? Anybody? Hello? Hello?
I think the essay focuses more on differences.
Thank you. Did you have any clues? Why did you think so?
Oh, sorry. Well, first, they in the introduction paragraph, it talks about the 2 types of living situations, and then it says it differs in many important ways. So that was the first hint.
Very
and then
good.
When we read the body, it sort of does compare the 2 different types of living situations, but I personally felt that it focused a little bit more on when you live with a family.
Right.
Because of the total amount of the information, I think was sort of inclined.
Right. So it definitely gives more, it gives both, sort of, but it definitely is more focused toward differences. And we can see that because they say it out loud in the introductory paragraph, like Jin said, right? Thank you very much. And you can also see transitions that are being used throughout the essay. And they use different transitional signals to notify the reader that I'm gonna go on shifting one point to another. They use like transitions like first, second, but they also use expressions to show similarities and differences. And you can see that in this section here, the word both is definitely for similarities, right? But other expressions like in contrast or less or on the other hand, these transitions are used to talk about differences. Now, when you go take a look at this number 2 here, question number 2, this is really important. It asks you what are the bases of comparison that the author has chosen. Now, the reason that I am saying this is really important is because the basis of comparison is the key that makes your essay, compare and contrast essays, sound more interesting. Okay, let's say you guys are comparing and contrasting 부먹 versus 찍먹, okay? And you use typical basis of comparison, 바삭 정도, okay? It gives you information, but it's sort of like cliche, don't you think? I mean, we've all talked about this already. But let's say you have chosen a base of comparison of the appearance of the food. Let's say I am total 찍먹파, and I say, well, it looks ugly when you pour the sauce on top of 탕수육, right? And then some people would agree and some people would say no, but it would be definitely a little bit different and a little fresher type of basis of comparison compared to just talking about crispiness. Maybe you can talk about crispiness, but you can also add like other points to that. That sounds a lot more fresher and new. And this basis of comparison are usually mentioned in the very beginning of the compare and contrast essay. So if you have decided to write a compare and contrast essay in your introductory paragraph, it would be good to mention what you're comparing and on what basis you're comparing these. Okay, so if you take a look at our example, in the beginning, in this first paragraph, it talks about in the very last sentence, it says, these living situations differ in many important ways, including price, convenience, and amount of independence. So just by looking at this last sentence, we can see the general structure of the essay. We know what to expect. We know that the body paragraph is going to be divided into probably three parts: price, convenience, and amount of independence. Okay, and then they're going to compare and contrast these three, the living with your family versus living alone, based on these standards. Okay. And another thing that I want to mention about this last sentence of the introductory paragraph is that this sentence is sort of acting like a thesis statement in a 5-paragraph essay. Although if you wrote this exact sentence in your 5-paragraph essay, I wouldn't give an A+ for this because it doesn't give you, it doesn't sound specific enough as a thesis statement. However, because we're just writing a 3-paragraph essay in this sample, they don't have time. Even if you make it really specific, you can't lead your logic into it within a 3-paragraph. So in this essay, it was inevitable for the author to just have a very simple-minded thesis statement that looks like this. But one thing that I want to say this thesis statement was good was that it does give you a general overview. It acts like a blueprint to the essay because they gave you the comparison, the basis of comparison in this sentence. And they also give you how he thinks about the situation, living situations. So if you take a look at the 3rd slide, it says, you have to write an introductory paragraph. And in this paragraph, like I just said, you must mention, if you are writing a compare and contrast essay, in the introductory paragraph, you must be able to identify what you are comparing, your basis of comparison, and whether you will concentrate on similarities or differences. And this is part of what Jiun just mentioned. Whether you are going to concentrate on similarities or differences, maybe you can just mention a little bit of similarities, but this essay clarifies that he's going to talk mostly about differences because he said it differs in 3 important ways. So don't try to do both. Like when we go to a restaurant and there are a lot of 결정장애자 who can't decide whether to have 뜨아 or 아, Or, you know, some people have troubles, well, is it fried rice or jjajangmyeon? You know, we always have, you know, we always encounter a situation where we need to choose one of the two, and it's very difficult. I understand. But you cannot do that in an essay. When you're writing an essay, you must lead your audience to a specific direction. Are you going to focus on similarities, or are you going to focus on differences? If you decide to do both, your audience is going to be very tired trying to figure out what your true intentions are. And it's not going to be a great essay, because they will stop reading in the middle saying, I don't understand what this person is trying to say. Just get on with it. I'm not going to read this anymore. So your writing will be abandoned if you cannot lead your audience to the specific direction that you want to go. Okay, so don't hesitate. Don't be thinking, oh, I don't know what to do. You have to know. When you are the writer, you're in charge. Okay, now let's take a look at the next part here. It says conclusion. You have to also write a concluding paragraph, and we've been talking about this a lot. In this concluding paragraph, you must summarize the main points that you mentioned in the body, and then you include your prediction or suggestion or, you know, additional thoughts like that. But do not, again, do not go off topic or introduce new ideas, because if you do that, then it sounds like, you know, 교장 선생님 훈화 말씀 when you are like in elementary school. It never ends, right? You didn't like that, right? So don't do that to your audience, all right? 끝날 듯 안 끝나는 희망 고문. Don't do that to your audience, okay? So if you have decided to write a concluding paragraph, make sure that you're just summing up and adding your suggestion or opinion. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind here is that compare and contrast essay is a part of expository essay. Now, what's important about expository essays? Well, expository essays are supposed to be giving information to the audience, right? So in other words, you're not giving your own thoughts, like official no in expository essays, right? This means that you're not allowed to use the first person singular, I, or sometimes we, in this type of essay. So you should be very careful when you are suggesting something or when you are giving personal opinion on the topic. You should make sure that you are wording it differently. Maybe you can use passive, or maybe you can use casual, like it is, something like that, instead of using I or we to suggest something. Okay. All right. So I knew this was going to happen. So I don't think I will be able to get to the writing part of the compare and contrast essay because we have like 7 minutes left. The video clip for the first half of the class has been up already, so you can take a look at that. It's about restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. In Korean, we call that 계속적, 제한적 용법, 계속적 용법. And I know it was really difficult for you to understand when you were back in high school and middle school, so I tried to make the lesson as simple as possible. So that you can actually understand the concept. You can watch it. Maybe, I'm not so sure if they have finished processing it. For YouTube, it takes like forever to process. Sometimes they give you an error in the middle. So I would like to suggest you to watch this around 30 minutes later, okay? And then you'll be able to access it. Okay. All right. Question, Seokyeon? No?
No, I said just it's up already.
It's uploaded. Okay. Okay, that's good. All right. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bring your essays so that we can do a peer review, and have a good night today with your essay. Have fun. fine. All right. Bye, guys.